Guys, we are back for another edition, right? Yeah, we're back. We're back. We did not get the victory that we hoped for as A&M fans, right? And man, I'm just gonna be honest, man. We got our asses whooped. It's no other way that you can explain that. We just got our asses handed to us. The final score was 44-20. And we just did not look like a good ball club out there. We did not. It was a lot of things that just did not go right in that ball game, man. It did not. Shout out to Williams-Brice Stadium, for hands down being one of the best night atmospheres around the country. That wasn't something that I was shocked about, though. All right, for us A&M fans, right? We've lost there at nighttime before, man, and we lost there when that team in 2022. That team had went 5-7. But man, this one was a hard pill to swallow because of the simple fact of that the coaching was just, I don't know, man. The coaching was just kind of all over the place. I don't have a problem with Reed starting, right? I don't. And I think that's with most of us out there. But for the simple fact of that, everybody that was on that offensive staff just kind of failed them as a coach, man. Like, I honestly believe that they just did not put him in the right position. But it's not all on Reed, and it's not all on that offense. However, this is what I will say. I did not like the simple fact of we give Reed the full range, right? Because from my understanding, this is Mike Elko's words, not mine. Reed is a starter going forward, period, right? And you guys come on here and correct me if I'm wrong about that. But Reed is a starter going forward. But right after he makes Reed the full-time starter going forward for the rest of the season, you go out there and you get your ass smacked in a 24-point loss. I understand Le'Veon Moss went down, right? I understand Chase Basantis isn't out there anymore, in which I believe he's done for the season, right? Okay, I get it. Make adjustments. The offensive line was not bad at all, man. I'm sorry. If anybody comes on here and tries to talk shit about the offensive line for Texas A&M, man, I'm here to say that, guys, you're wrong. You're wrong about that, man. The offensive line did their job. I understand that, they got a couple of pressures on Marcel Reed and stuff like that, but South Carolina did have a good defensive line, so I get it. But they walked away out of that game, I think, with about 2 or 3 sacks. That's good going up the South Carolina team, right? And A&M's defense, man, I'm going to get to in just a second here. But for the simple fact that you name Reed as a starter and you put him out there and you let him take this 24-point ass whooping, in which I understand so far as, hey, we're going to leave him out there. We're going to see what he does. But if he loses, then it's kind of like he loses. Like, hey, we can take that loss and go on. That's a hard one. That's a hard one because I still felt like you needed to let Connor still get a crack at it. That's me in my opinion. And when the game did ultimately start getting kind of out of hand, man, I feel like you should have put Connor out there. And see if he can just give you a spark. Hell, you did it when Connor was a starter. So why not do it while Marcel Reed is a starter? And I kind of understand why you don't do it, because at that point you're confusing the quarterbacks. But this is what a commentator did say, right? They was like, hey, man, they have no intentions for Connor coming into this game at all. And that coaching staff totally stuck to what they said. And they sat there, man, and they let Marcel Reed take one of the biggest beatdowns in his career. And that's something that I do feel like Marcel Reed is gonna learn from. I honestly feel like he's gonna learn from this. But like I say, man, in my opinion, I feel like you should have started Connor and let him, you know, just basically play himself out of that starting position, man. And I feel like, man, if Connor didn't lose his starting role in practice, it's kind of like, man, like, what do you do here? But I get it. So going forward, right? Offensively, I'm upset because offensively, they did not make any second half adjustments offensively. I feel like you should have let Reed be Reed. Let Marcel Reed be Reed. Like I say, I'm fully on board with Marcel Reed being the starter. I'm fully on board. But let him go out there and be Marcel Reed. Don't try to turn him into a pocket passer, man. He is not a pocket passer. That's not his style. Do not set him up for failure like that. And I feel like this game here, Marcel Reed was set up for failure, especially in that second half, right? To where you turned him legitimately into a pocket passer. That's not him. Marcel Reed can throw the football at the end of the day, but he's not all the way developed as a passer yet, man. And I feel like you took a lot of his strengths away. You know, and like I say, man, a lot of you guys come on here and correct me if I'm wrong, but I just felt like a lot of his strengths was taken away. But also, man, this game goes into play of Le'Veon Moss going down too. You lost Le'Veon Moss. That's a big blow to that running game. And all due respect to Amari Daniels and what he did, in which shout out to Amari for running that 52-yard run, right? But Amari Daniels is not Le'Veon Moss. We know this. But at the same time, it's time for E.J. Smith to start seriously getting into the rotation. And it's time to let E.J. Smith be E.J. Smith. That guy can run. It's time for you to take off the whatever you got on him and let him go be him. But back to Marcel Reed, you have to let Marcel Reed play his style of game. If he's going to be a scrambling quarterback, then you definitely have to let him be a scrambling quarterback. Don't turn him into that guy that just sits there and waits for people to get open. You know, in which Marcel Reed had a pretty fantastic day of throwing the football, man. I'm not going to lie to you. He had a pretty good day throwing the football. He threw his first interception. He did. And eventually, man, he was going to have to throw one interception, right? And it couldn't have come in one of the biggest in one of the biggest games on the road against South Carolina. They forced him into it. They baited him, and he definitely threw that ball right into the defender's hand. He threw it into the defender's hands, and the rest was history after that. And like I said, I'm going to get to this defense in a second here. But I just feel like offensively, man, you should have made those second half adjustments just like you knew you needed to make. Although I respect you for the decision that you made and what you said, hey, we're not going to bring Connor in. Basically, I felt like you should have gave Connor a shot in that second half and just sparked it up just a little bit, man. Just let him go out there, throw a couple of passes around, and see how it goes. Everything that Marcel Reed was trying to do after the fact, they caught him. But we did see a glimpse of what Marcel Reed is capable of, in which they already knew that. I just didn't feel like we let him do enough of it. You know, and I just felt like, man, that guy needed to be him. I don't like the simple fact that he wasn't him in that game. That was not Marcel Reed football. Now, going forward, right, of course, I know that in the game coming up against New Mexico State, it's gonna look totally different. It's gonna look totally different. But going forward, man, you have to let Marcel Reed be Marcel Reed, because you got Auburn on the road, right? In which, although they're 3-7 now, or 3-6, I believe, Auburn is going to show up for that game. They're going to show up for that game. The fans are going to be there when a lot of people think they aren't. And number one, you're going to come into that game possibly ranked as a top 12 team. I'm going to be dead honest with you. As of right now, Texas A&M is number 15 in the rank. You're going to come into that game probably sitting smack dead at number 12. There's no doubt in my mind that you would get back into the top 10 with the showdown against Texas. I do honestly believe that. You will be a top 10 team when you guys face Texas at the end of the season. But before we get there, you need to go through Auburn. And what you do at Auburn is going to, I'm not going to necessarily say what you're going to do so far as going into that Texas game, but we're going to see what this team is really made of after taking an ass whooping on the road and losing by 24 points. That's the biggest loss that you took to South Carolina, and that's the biggest loss of the season, period. That's one of the biggest losses. You know what I mean? So we're going to see what Marcel Reed is made of going down the stretch. We're going to see what Mike Elko is made of going down the stretch. We're going to see what Colin Klein and Jay Bateman are both made of going down the stretch. Can they come out, start fast, and keep going? It's a reason to why I always say, if Texas A&M is up by 10 points in the first quarter, then they can absolutely blow the game wide open. The problem was that Texas A&M wasn't up by 10 points in the first quarter again, right? And this is the second game in a row where you weren't up by 10 points. Texas A&M can definitely go up by 10 quick. They have to do that. They have to. The defensive adjustments in the first half is starting to kind of kill us, man. I'm sorry, not defensive adjustment. But the defensive ball play in the first half of games is starting to catch up to us. And we're going to have to fix that sooner or later. We're going to have to. Because, man, like I say, man, you have Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed can break a game wide open. But you have to give him the right play calls to let him go out there and be your guy, especially if ain't no if, especially when he's your full-time starter going forward. You know, like I say, I'm not upset. I'm just very disappointed into how this game played. I'm very, very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in how the second half did not have any adjustments offensively, man, because we literally scored no points in the second half, and everybody knows that. That ain't nothing that's new. We scored no points in the second half, none. We flat out outscored, I think, 24-0 in the second half. Yeah, 24-0 in the second half. Didn't score, flip. You know, so that's just some things they have to work on. I do think Marcel Reed would get better. But this offense is a running offense. This is not a passing offense this year. It's not. And it's nothing that's going to change on that. And I'm fine with it. You know, I do think you can win. I'm going to pump the brakes on saying that you can win a national title. But I do think that you can win the regular SEC, well, not the regular SEC crown, but I do think that you can win enough to get down there in the SEC championship. That one I do believe. I believe that you can make enough plays to get down there to the SEC title game for the first time in history. Will you win the SEC title? Man, that all depends on who you're going to play in there. You know, because that one I do not know. I don't know. I do believe Georgia is going to be there. I know they play Ole Miss coming up on this weekend, so we'll see how that game goes. But I do feel like you can make enough plays to get to the SEC championship game. All right, so anywho, man, we're moving on. Defensively, I have no clue on how in the hell you guys did not sack Lenore Sellers. This game alone, the defense should have had 10 sacks in that backfield. And, of course, this is the obvious, right? This is the obvious that everybody wants to hear. South Carolina fans, if you're on this podcast, hey, man, shout out to you guys. It is what it is. We'll take this ass whooping. And that's just something we got to live with until next year. So I don't understand What happened? I know what happened, but I don't understand how it happened. Number one, you guys got to learn how to tackle already. I think we've been witnessing this since the start of the Notre Dame game. We go back to the first game of the season. And you guys have missed some tackles, man. You guys have missed a lot of tackles on the season. However, you guys are very good because you don't give up a lot of points. This is the most points you've given up, period. And I feel like that's going to be the only points that you'll give up like that. But you guys got to learn how to tackle, man. I can't sugarcoat that shit. You got to learn how to tackle better. You get in open space. Lenore Sellers is right there, smack dead in your damn face, and you still couldn't tackle a guy. Shout out to Lenore Sellers for breaking those tackles by all means. I'm not going to undercut him like it wasn't all him. But you defensive guys, man, you guys are 4-star recruits and 5-star recruits out there. Ain't no goddamn way that Lenore Sellers should have broken all of those tackles. I think even Lenore Sellers himself was surprised he got out at least 5 of them damn sacks. You hear me? He got out at least 5 of them. That isn't on defensive play calling. That's a damn lie. That's on defensive tackling on those players at the end of the day. You guys got to make better tackles than what you guys were giving out there. You guys got to have better effort. You guys wanted to be a top 10 team. You guys wanted to be the number 1 team in the SEC. Well, guess what? This is what comes with it. The target is on your damn back. It's on your back, man. You can't give up 286 yards to a South Carolina offense that hadn't done a damn thing all season. They hadn't done shit all season until this game. And I was a little bit nervous coming into this game, but I wasn't worried by all means. But once South Carolina went up 14-0, I said, okay, A&M has to play some football, man. You got to play some football, and you got to start making these sacks. You guys did not get 1 sack in this damn game. Not even 1. That's very frustrating. I know it's a bigger frustration for you guys, right? The players out there and the coaches. But I ain't going to say it's bigger, but it's a frustration also with the fan base when we're watching you guys and we all know what you're capable of, man. That's frustrating, man. That should have been 10 sacks. 10 that you missed, man. 10. That doesn't make any sense to me how you did not sack that man at least once. And like I say, all credit to Lenore Sellers. In a huge shout out and credit to Shane Beamer into the cup of tea that he feeds these guys when they literally play A&M at home on the cool. Ever since Shane Beamer has been there, we hadn't won a game over there yet. I'm going to say that again. Yeah, we got a dominant 9-2 record against South Carolina, but ever since Shane Beamer has been at that has been their head coach, we have not, clears my throat here, we have not won the game in William Bryce Stadium yet. And I'm going to say that again, yet. That's credit to Shane Beamer in where he's put that program at because he knows what that rivalry is all about. Yes, South Carolina is a legit rival. LSU is a legit rival. A lot of people may not want to believe that, man, and I get all of that. Yeah, Texas is the clear rival, which is an annual rival. They've been there. They've been there. But, man, there's no reason why you could not sack Lenore Sellers, man. And for the life, and I'm gonna go back and watch that game, right, throughout the week. It's no reason that you shouldn't have put a body on that man. And when you had a body on him, God damn it, man, just get a body to be on him. That guy broke so many broken tackles to where he looked like he was playing in NCAA football 25. He looked like a created player. That's what Lenore Sellers looked like on yesterday. He looked like a created player. And Lenore Sellers is getting all the love that he can get right now, and deservingly so. That's right. He needs all of the love. South Carolina's getting all of the love right now. They need that. They need that because they deserve it. They deserve it. That loss, God, man, that loss was to the hands of Lenore Sellers. And everybody was talking about credit to South Carolina's offensive line. Guys, y'all won't fool me on that shit. That is total bullshit. No, you give Lenore Sellers his credit. That wasn't an offensive line play because that offensive line is still god-awful for South Carolina. Regardless of how much you guys don't want to think of that, that offensive line is still god-awful. Pass blocking, run blocking, they whooped our asses in the trenches. And a lot of y'all need to hear that. A lot of y'all need to hear that on that defensive line, man. A lot of y'all need to hear that on that defensive line. They whooped y'all asses in the trenches, bro. They really, really did. They whooped y'all asses in those trenches. Even the running back was running on y'all asses, man. And that's credit to Rocket Sanders, man. Because we know what Rocket Sanders is about. We know where he came from. He came from Arkansas. Rocket Sanders wanted that win. For the longest, he was with Arkansas, and they was just completely losing. Then he got with South Carolina. And he knew what their record was against us. He knew that. He knew that. That's credit to Rocket Sanders. That's credit to Lenore. That's credit to Lenore Sanders. Credit to the offensive line for run blocking at the end of the day. Pass blocking, no, man. They're still god-awful, man. They're still god-awful. Like I say, it's no excuse. That defense should have had 10 sacks on that guy. Going forward, I don't think they ever miss those 10 sacks again, right? But that defensive line for A&M is still very, very good. They're very, very good. But God, man, you guys have to get that together. All right, you gotta get that together. So shout out to everybody in the comments. I've been seeing a couple of you guys talking about the penalties, right? The penalties. Those referees in that game was god-awful. There's no excuses as to why we lost, though, but those referees are god-awful. They're god-awful. It's no way that you can tell me that South Carolina had no legit penalties that should have been thrown in the first half of this football game. It's no way at all. Texas A&M, though, you guys got to get that together, man. You cannot be penalized like that all the time. We are one of the worst penalized teams in the country. But South Carolina was one of the worst penalized teams in the country as well. We looked, truth be told, last night, we looked flip-flop. It looked like South Carolina had the 7-1 record, and A&M was a 4-3 team. That's how we looked last night. It was no way, though, that you can tell me that South Carolina didn't deserve to get any penalties, man. None. Also, those 4th-and-1 play calls, I don't respect all of them. I didn't feel like you needed to do all of them. But the 4th-and-1 where Amari Daniels ran and they didn't give him that spot, that's totally bogus to me. That's bogus, man. That is bogus as hell. Very bogus. I feel like those spots were very inconsistent because, damn, man, you get to South Carolina and they're converting their 4th down, but even not with the 4th down, you give them like a 3rd-and-1 or whatever, a 2nd-and-1, and it looked inevitably the same as it looked when A&M ran the football and landed on the line. But you didn't give them that. It's kind of like, come on, man, what are we doing? What are we doing here? But once again, you make no excuses when you're a top 10 team in the country. And this is what I don't want to hear everybody say. And I'm going to shut this bullshit down right now. I do not want to hear this. I do not want to hear the simple fact of that, oh man, we're good. You know, man, you got to remember Mike Elko was still in his first season. No, I don't want to hear that shit anymore because y'all wasn't saying that when the guy was winning. I do not want to hear that, and I'm not going to give out that excuse. I am not. I hear a lot of people still, I hear a lot of people have come up with now, well, you know, man, if they go 9-3, man, it's still not a bad season. Yeah, true enough, but damn, we got all the way into the top 10, right? We are 5-1 in the SEC right now, tied in first place with Georgia. And now we're making excuses saying, oh, well, man, it'll still be a good season if we go 9-3. That I agree. I get it. But we're not going to do that shit, man, when we've already made these expectations very high. Y'all made this before the season even started. But what did I tell you? I said this team has a ceiling of 11-1. Did I not say that? If you got, for the ones that watch my podcast, in which I thank you guys, by the way, did I not say that Texas A&M has a ceiling of 11-1, they have a floor of 8-4? I said this. I said, but me, in my opinion, Texas A&M would either go 11-1, 10-2, or 9-3. I said that. However, with how the way this season has been going, it's no doubt in my mind that now being at the loss is right there with South Carolina. Texas A&M will still finish, to me, 10-2. I already said before the season started that game against Texas, they're going to win that ball game. They're going to win that ball game against Texas. But before we got to Texas, you had to win these games here, in which last night we lost. You got to win those games. You got to tackle better because you're not going to get a quarterback that's like Lenore Sellers anymore. That one I will honestly tell you that you're not going to get Lenore Sellers at quarterback anymore. I ain't going to say for the rest of the season, but for the rest of the regular season schedule, you're not going to get that anymore. All right? Peyton Thorne, he ain't nowhere near no damn Lenore Sellers, right? He's not going to just break every one of your tackles. That's still crazy to me that y'all didn't sack that guy. That is still running through my mind that y'all did not sack him. What in the world were you all doing, man? What was that? What is that? So, anyways, but Peyton Thorne, he didn't know Lenore Sellers. Maybe got a better arm than Lenore Sellers because, number one, you shut down the passing game for South Carolina. That I will say. You shut down the passing game. The running game you just couldn't shut down because Lenore Sellers was a big part of it and Rocket Sanders was a big part of it. You just couldn't shut that down. And then after Auburn, you have Texas. Quinn Ewers is not no damn Lenore Sellers. If you get to him, then you get to him. Arch Manning is not no Lenore Sellers. If you get to Arch Manning, then you just get to Arch Manning. You cannot give up 10 good sacks like that, man. You can't, oh God, you can't give that up. You can't give that up. If you have 10 sacks right in front of your face, you have to at least make half of those. You can't come out the rest of these games and not make at least half of the sacks that you were supposed to make. If so, then you will lose these games. You will lose these games, flat out. If you're gonna miss that many tackles and that many sacks like that, then you will lose the rest of these games, man. That one, I'm not gonna act dumb about. I'm not. I'm completely not. But man, the rest of these games going forward, man, you have to make those plays. You got to make those plays. All right. So enough with the negativity, right? Now let's talk about the positives in this game. The positives in this game. Your tight ends are still getting open for you. I do think it's time for you to start utilizing those guys because you just don't have no legit wide receiver play as of right now. You just don't. You don't have no legit wide receiver play. Noah Thomas was good, but it can be better. It can be better. It can be better, man. I do think Moose Muhammad, I don't know what the hell he does in practice. I've always heard that the guy is just so inconsistent. At some point, man, Moose, you got to put on some damn consistency. It's getting to the end of your reign. I don't even know if you can come back next season, be honest with you. But the positive is that Moose is still there. Your offensive line is still good at pass blocking. I don't know why some people were saying that the offensive line wasn't good. That's a total damn lie. The offensive line was good, but at some point, man, you gotta get the ball from out of your hand. Right? So the offensive line is still good. You still have capable running backs that can win you the ball game. That one I will say. And you still have a capable quarterback that can zone read it, at any time and run all the way down the goddamn field. Okay? They can run all the way down that field. They can. But you still also have a quarterback that can fake a zone read and throw the ball wide open to a man down the field. I think moving forward, right? Because Reed is the starter. Like I told you guys before, I'm fully behind Reed, dog. I'm sorry, I'm fully behind Reed. I love Connor. You know, I do wish they would have stuck with him, but I'm fully behind Reed. So you're not going to hear me bring up that Connor to Reed bullshit that people like to bring up in the quarterback controversy. It's no controversy anymore. I'm riding with Mike Elko. If Mike Elko says that that's the guy, that's the damn guy. I'm not going to be controversial to that. I do think Reed still gives you positives going forward because that guy, if you let him go and be him, he can win you any ball game. He can. Why? Because he showed you that before, right? That's the positive. That's going to be the guy going forward. The first team offense, you guys work with him. Connor's your backup. Connor's a damn good backup. That's a damn good backup. All right, so you let those two guys legitimately work together. Another positive, this team is a team. When Le'Veon Moss went down, both quarterbacks went inside that tent. I freaking love that shit, man. I love that. That's a whole team effort, and you have to keep that going. You got to keep that going, okay? To no BK, no, they have made a decision. Mike Elko said himself that Marcel Reed is the starter going forward. It's no more back and forth anymore. Marcel Reed is your starter going forward. And that was Mike Elko's words, not anybody else's. Marcel Reed is the guy, right? We're going forward with him. So, but like I say, he poses a dangerous threat to anybody. Another positive, your field goal kicker. He's one of the best damn field goal kickers in college football. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say that around for a lot of people. I'm going to say that, man. The offensive line did not get whooped. I wish you guys would stop saying that. The offensive line did not get whooped. But your field goal kicker is an NFL field goal kicker. He is. That guy is damn good. You're going to need him going forward throughout the rest of the season. But because I guarantee you, I'm not going to say if. When you get to the SEC championship, that shit is going to come down to a field goal kick. And I think Randy Bond can win you that game. All right? I still have playoff aspirations for this team. But understand this, right? Wherever the season may go, man, I'm already saying that Texas is going to lose that ball game to A&M. Understand that Texas would not be out of the playoffs, man. I'm sorry. You guys have to stop thinking that. Texas will be there, right? But you're going to need him most likely against Texas. He's going to have to make a couple of kicks for you that takes the game out of reach. We talking about like probably 2 minutes left, and you guys are up by 9 because of the simple fact that Randy Bond has made that field goal kick for you, and he stretched the lead to 9 points. Seriously, man, you're going to need that. All right. But another positive, right? We have running backs. They're good. They're very good. Okay? They're not Le'Veon Moss. I'm going to keep saying that. But they're good. They're very good. Man, I can only imagine what his offense would have been at if Reuben Owens would have not gotten hurt for the season. I can only imagine where they would have been at, man. I really do think that this team would have been a #1 rushing team in the country if Reuben would have not went down. That one I can honestly say. But then again, you think about where this team would have been at blocking period if Chase Basantis didn't go down. If my other guy didn't go down and where he's out for the season. Think about where these guys would be at, man. Seriously. So the also another positive, we're going to go to defense now. On the defensive side of the ball, positive. The defensive line is still that defensive line. They can get to any quarterback that's on their schedule going forward. The defensive line is in people's backfield. I feel very good about that. It's just going forward, man, they have to make those plays. They have to. It's no ifs, ands, and buts about it, right? Also, I feel good about that linebacking core. Your linebackers are in the backfield. Scooby Williams, next time you get back there, you have to make that sack. Scooby Williams would have had the first sack of the game, but he didn't get it. That was literally Scooby Williams' sack, and he got back there. Nobody was back there. That was Scooby Williams. So the linebacker play, I still feel good about that. The defensive backs, they had a damn good game, man. I feel so good about Des Riggs being in that cornerback room. That guy is a legit starter. Another thing, I can only imagine where this defensive back unit would be if Tyreek Chappelle would have been playing right now. That's an all-around shutdown defensive back unit that we have, man, especially with Des Riggs. Des Riggs is really that guy, man. He earned his 5-star rankings for a reason. Des Riggs can play ball, man. And I love that about him. He's going to go somewhere. That guy's going to end up in the NFL. Bryce Anderson, he's still very damn good. Bryce is still that guy, man. But like I say, those guys have to make tackles. They have to make tackles, right? But, guys, that's it. That's it. That is all I have for you guys. I thank all of you all for tuning in to the podcast. And all I'm asking is that you guys be ready on tomorrow, man, when this podcast comes back out. I do know that I had a couple of podcasts set up. Please forgive me on that. I could not get to those. The one last night, I couldn't get to it at all for whatever reason after that game was over with. And it wasn't because I was upset. It's because I was generally talking to I was talking to somebody about the game and stuff like that, man. And I completely ran over my time. But please forgive me on that, man. But like I say, please continue to tune in. You guys, man, it's going to happen one day. But you guys, please use that money button and drop a little bit of cash in there. Hey, show your support, show the love for the podcast, stuff like that. But other than that, guys, that's all I have for you on today. Like I said, I'll be back on tomorrow, man. We'll discuss a couple of things, being that this is the bye week, right? And we'll just legitimately get into some things, and also recruiting, man. Where's Texas A&M at with recruiting and things like that? So I love all of you guys, and once again, #GigaMax.